My name is Carol Hillestad. I'm with the Brodhead Watershed Association, and I'm hoping to take you on a short tour of the Nothstein Preserve on the Cranberry Creek. The Cranberry Creek here is a really beautiful little creek that goes from Cresco just down to Timber Hill, where it joins the Paradise. On this map shows you the Nothstein Preserve. It's about 150 acres. It adjoins, over here, it adjoins land that's owned by Pocono Heritage Land Trust. So this is 150 acres. Pocono Heritage Land Trust has another 500 acres. So you can spend a good deal of time here. There's lots to see along the creek, and I'd like to get going. That's what can you see that that's all that's left of a mushroom. There we go. This is probably a first year red eft. This will eventually return to the water and will become a spotted salamander. This little unnamed tributary of the Cranberry Creek is one of my favorite places in this preserve, one of my favorite places in the Poconos. The water is beautifully clear and cold. It comes from cascading off the hill behind us underneath the railroad through a culvert. In the spring, this is rushing with water. It's full right now because this has been a very wet fall. And you see that there are lots of different mosses on the rocks and even bugs still in the water even though it's October. Place to come and feel your blood pressure go down. The woods here are mostly sort of mixed hardwood forest. There's lots of things like shagbark hickory and maples and beech trees in particular, lots of different kinds of oaks. This one is a favorite of mine. It's called hornbeam or musclewood. And if you look at it, you can see why it's called musclewood. It has these kind of ripples in it. This is a very large specimen of musclewood. Normally the ones that I've seen are much smaller than this. It's a very dense wood, and something interesting you'll see along the trail. All along the trail, we've been seeing lots and lots of what's called mast, M-A-S-T. Really what that means is nuts, hickory nuts, beech nuts, and acorns, of course, which is a sign of a good season for deer, preparing for the winter, for chipmunks, and it probably means that the bears who stay out of hibernation until their food source diminishes. We'll be seeing bears in the woods a little later than usual this year. One of the characteristics that makes the Cranberry Creek very typical of small creeks and large creeks in the Poconos is that it's a meander. And using the word meander as a noun means that it's the creek that slowly goes around bends and cuts its way and changes its course. Sometimes it creates islands in the middle of the creek, but it always has this kind of very lazy looking shape. This one, at this point on the Cranberry Creek, you can see native rhododendrons and hemlocks all along the water, which is really important for keeping the water cool. fish, trout in particular, are extremely susceptible to temperatures that are too warm. Anything above 55 degrees and they will begin to suffer and not thrive and sometimes die. So hemlocks and rhodies like this along the creek are important to keeping the creek nice and cool. So this was our goal, to reach this little canyon falls on the Cranberry Creek. The rock wall rises above on both sides. The rock behind me is an example of the rock that formed this creek. It's about 400 million years old, the rock. And right now it's being eroded by the plants that have just started to take root in the debris, the leaf litter that's fallen on the rock from the trees. Over time, that will eventually break that rock down. It's going to take probably another 400 million years. The creek is fed by little tiny streams that come crashing off the hill during heavy rainstorms. But like most of the creeks in the Poconos, it's in the middle of a little valley. There are ridges and valleys, and one of the great pleasures to me about this creek is knowing, as I go about my day in Fresco, I know that's where the headwaters are, and down along Evergreen School, I know that the creek is winding along behind it, and then behind a housing development until it comes out here in the wild and can be its own self with these pretty little waterfalls and then the meander further downstream. Well, we're coming to the end of the trail. We're coming back to the trailhead, and I hope you got a little bit of an introduction to the Nothstein Preserve at the Cranberry Creek, and I really hope you'll come and check it out for yourself sometime. Winter, fall, summer, spring, it doesn't matter when, there's always something beautiful to be seen here.